Boys, I have a question. Do you guys look at menus when you go out to eat at a restaurant? Like before you go out to eat? Like do you look up the menu?
What is going out to eat? I'm not familiar with what you're talking about here.
It's this thing that like where you used to like go to a place, sit in like a booth, maybe some chairs, and like, you would have dinner and you would like overpay for alcohol and food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely. Can't wait to do that again or ever. I'd say, yeah, only if it's a place I've never been to before. But if it's something somewhere I've been, I like to keep the spontaneity there with what's it going to be tonight? What am I going to be feeling? I don't know. Let's wait till we sit down, have a beverage and figure that out. But yeah, if it's somewhere I've never been before, 1,000% checking out the menu.
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's partly that and also partly dependent upon the theme of the restaurant. Like if I'm going to like an Italian place or like if it's Mexican, like I know what I'm getting into. I don't have to look at the menu ahead of time. But if I'm going to a place that is maybe like a little more broad or not as obvious as what their food would be, or food I haven't tried very much before, then I would probably dive in.
See, that's interesting to me because I saw somebody like it was a tweet that like went viral, a bunch of people giving their opinions on that. And I never look at the menu ahead of time. Ever.
Never.
I'm always just like, whatever. Cause it's more like if it's something that like, cause there's like Peruvian food is like huge here. Right. And that's like something I don't know much about, but if I go to one of those places or like, there's like Korean barbecue, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm looking at on the menu anyways. So I might as well just freaking go for it.
You're like, we're going to Applebee's and getting the riblets. I don't need to check out the menu. That's already been decided. It's happening. That's interesting. That's a little bit of a gamble with that, but I mean, have you ever done that and regretted it? Have you ever gone and be like, you know what, I should have checked out the menu. Maybe I would have ordered something else or not come here.
See that? Yes, I've regretted it, but not in the situations where it's like food that I don't normally eat. It's like usually when I go to a place, they're like, oh, okay, that seems cool. But then it's like some weird like farmhouse fusion cuisine where they have things that like what is free range chicken? I like, and I remember like Googling what is free range chicken one time when I was out. I was like, is it just like, cause it had all these other words in it and like all these things. I feel like when you go to these certain places, they have all these like different like aiolis and all this shit.
Ooh,
You're just like, what is that? What is this? I feel like those are the times that I regret it, is when I go to places where I think it's safe and then it's like, no, this wasn't safe at all.
The ones that make me mad are where the item name isn't super obvious, or it's in a different language or some sort of hybrid, right? And it's like it's not super obvious from the title, but then in the description, it tells you like everything else about like the dish except the main part of the dish. Like, I don't know if this is chicken. I'm just trying to figure that out. I don't need to know how you made the remoulade or whatever, and all these side dishes and the herbs used. Like, tell me what this is, and then we can get to the details.
It's a cultural experience. Do your homework, folks.
Yeah. I don't really know where I was going with that one, but you know what? It's the Brunch Breakdown. I'm Dee out here in California with no voice, but more on that here in a couple seconds. Dan and Chris are in Pittsburgh, and today on the show, we have another, I don't know, did we ever give this thing a title where we watch a movie for the first time?
We need a shorter version because like famous movies that we've never watched just doesn't have a good ring to it, but that's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's like movies you've seen, but we haven't.
Right.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Movies you've seen that we haven't. Well, Goodfellas is on the menu today. We all watched Goodfellas for the first time, so we're going to be talking about that. And also Legends of the Hidden Temple is coming back for adults. And there is a really cool alcoholic beverage that now has freeze pops. We'll talk about that in Brunch Court. But boys, let's get started how we always get started. Brews Day. Let's do it.
All right. I am happy to no longer be in the low calorie beer club. So
Oh, it's over. Okay.
I thought this was going to go on till like all summer long. I'm happy it's not.
No. So I am happy to feature another beer that good friend of the program, Ryan Johnson, sent to me because he felt so bad for me that I was only drinking low-calorie beers. This one is from Saucy Brew Works in Cleveland. And our good friend Ryan is a big baseball fan. This one is called Stealing Signs. And I've already had a sip of it. And I will tell you, it is pretty dry. It's more on the bitter end of IPAs. And for me, that's perfect because I like my IPAs, 1, bitter, or 2, citrusy. Either way you go, I'm pretty big fan of those two. So a pretty bitter. Hey, and I am a bitter baseball fan, so it works out well. I'm from Pittsburgh. It's freaking baseball. This is the best thing about baseball season for me right now. Stealing Signs, Saucy Brew Works. Happy Brews Day.
That is a great can.
It's pretty cool design, right?
That is.
I like that can.
I like that.
That's good stuff.
I like that.
Well, boys, for Brews Day for me, if you can't tell by my voice, it is tea. I've got tea in one of my favorite mugs that's now like faded. It kind of makes me sad. But anyways, yeah, it's tea for me. I'm boring. Dan, what are you sipping on this week?
Wow. Well, we hope we can welcome you back to the Brews Day table next week. I know you're not thrilled having tea, but we'll do our best here. What I've got is one of my favorite beers of all time. So I'm glad I brought the hammer this time. All right. I didn't know you were bringing tea, so I brought the hammer anyways, just to be safe. A brewery that I haven't featured on here in quite some time, but this one's been in the back of the fridge because these are special. And it just felt like it was a special week, special day, special need for this beer. Grist House Brewery, probably my favorite brewery in Western Pennsylvania. Probably number 1 for me. If it's not number 1, it's number 2. This is the Big Sippa, an amazing can. And this is and if you're reading that on our video, yes, this is a sour IPA. A sour IPA, and it's brewed with strawberries, raspberries, vanilla, and you got some cocoa in here, those cacao nibs as well. So it's a absolutely wild combination how this all comes together in one of my favorite beers that I've ever had, one of their best, period. It is sour, but it's fruity. It's balanced. It's just freaking delicious. You taste all those flavors. You never want this beer to end. The Big Sippa from Grist House, I am telling you, one of my favorites, like I said, of all time. This is freaking delicious. So cheers with the Big Sippa here.
Sour IPA, best of both worlds.
It is best of both worlds. You got it all. You got it all right here.
Dude, Big Sippa SIPA on the can. That's cool, man.
Right?
I like that.
And
it's really well
the design with like the stars,
the constellation
connecting.
of the can there with it all. Yeah. Absolutely love this beer. Super excited. They've been shut down since March of last year. A lot of other breweries in Pennsylvania have found ways to open with restrictions and whatnot. This brewery closed the whole time. Finally announced reopening in June. They've got a bigger space. They took the time to do construction. It's an amazing summer brewery for Western Pennsylvanians because it's mostly outdoor, amazing outdoor space. So very excited to get back to Grist House. Shouts to them. Welcoming back with the Big Sippa.
That is, I'm jealous. I want a beer so bad, but that would be worse from my throat than doing a podcast.
That would not be good.
All right. So let's get things off our chests, random topics. If you guys never listened to the Brunch Breakdown before, this is where we get random topics off our chest. And I don't know what they're going to talk about. They don't know what I'm going to talk about. But today you might have an idea. So I'm going to get started and get this off my throat. Part 2, I hate daycare parents. I really do. I hate them all. I can't stand them. I don't know who you are out there who just keeps bringing awful things into my home. But now I have no voice. And I'm sick as hell. Wasn't all weekend, wasn't until Monday. My throat started getting scratchy, and then I had no voice yesterday. And then today, this is what you get. This is what you get. And I'm doing this as a PSA for all the people out there sending their kids to daycare with colds. Don't do it. You'll sound like me. Or maybe you don't even care. Maybe you're so trash. This is how you want to sound. I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, man. It's funny because last week you talked about how your daughter was in there for 2 days and then she was sick.
Yeah.
And the day after we recorded last week, we took my daughter back into daycare. She had been sick. She got sick from daycare. And they said, it's good that you're doing it, that you have her in daycare so young, because she'll get all this out of her system early. And when they're younger, they don't really realize how crappy they feel, like that. So like for your daughter and for who's 2 and for parents, when you get sick, you feel it, it, and it's awful. But like for very little kids, they're sick, but they're still kind of happy. They don't really know what's going on. So yeah, the parents, because of that, should know better, because you're the ones that are actually going to suffer the most. It's just it's like a weird transition, like 6 months to a year is what everybody says. Like you're going to be as sick as you've ever been for 6 months to a year. And then you will have, I guess, built up immunity.
Super excited. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I'm 6 months into it, man. So we're in this together. We're in this together.
Dan, get it off your chest.
Yeah. I will. So we haven't had a wedding update in a while, and we are approaching 52 weeks, 365 days out from that special day next year for me and my fiance. So we've had, a lot of time to plan and have a lot of the stuff done. But now that we're hitting that 12-month window, start to get down to business a little bit more, take care of some of the stuff we need to. And that includes an engagement photo shoot, which we were finally able to do yesterday after the second rescheduling of that photo shoot, which was supposed to take place about 2 weeks ago. So it went super well. We really, really lucked out with the weather. The weather in Pittsburgh has been an absolute crapshoot as of late. And you could never tell what season you're going to wake up to and what it's going to finish with. So we got very, very lucky, all things considered, with the weather. But I know you two have been through this already. So this is for those listeners out there that haven't been there, that will be at this point regarding this very important photo shoot prior to your wedding. Just a couple of pointers, just a couple of things that I learned yesterday regarding this type of photo shoot. So suggestion number 1 is be diligent when picking a photographer. Their style and their personality actually matters. We picked our photographer we met for the first time yesterday. She's wonderful, great personality, got along with her really, really well. And that made this thing much more enjoyable instead of like taking your senior photos in high school, doing these awkward poses and just being told what to do by this 50, 60-year-old man or woman or whatever that's been doing this forever. So be picky. You should absolutely be picky. Keep that in mind. Go through the shots, see what you like. Just pretend that's you and get to know your photographer that way a little bit. So that mattered and that benefited us quite a bit. Another thing is scout your locations out, is what we did. We had 2 locations that we took photos. We scouted both of them out, kind of see if there were certain spots, angles, poses that we wanted to do. So those were ready to go in advance. We knew we liked them that much that we wanted to replicate them. But you have to let your photographer kind of be creative in the director during the whole thing, right? You can't just say, here's what we want to do. Maybe have a couple in mind and then let them do their thing, let them do their work. Next pointer is give your photographer some background on your interests, and use props that represent who you are, how you met, whatever. Naturally, we're huge craft beer people, my fiance and I, Shannon and I. So you better bet your ass that we had some craft beer photos, craft beer involved in some of our photos, which I'm very excited to see how those turn out. So try to make it unique, make it you, make it personal to you. The next word of advice that I have is, this is for the females or guys to offer this to your fiancés. Get that ring cleaned. Get that ring cleaned the day before. Shannon's been walking around with that ring on since August, and it may not like appear dirty, but then when you go and get it professionally cleaned, whole new world, whole new shine. So just do that in preparation day before, day of, because you better believe that ring got some close-up action in those photos yesterday as well. So making it look nice with that. And the last thing that I'll keep short, because I don't really want to care to explain. You guys will probably know what I'm talking about. Anybody that's been down this road probably does. Learn how to kiss with your teeth. Okay, just learn how to kiss with your teeth. You'll thank me later. You'll understand when you see what that looks like. But again, wonderful, very exciting. We're getting into the 12-month period, starts to ramp things back up. And that was it was a great photo shoot yesterday. We were very happy. You're both confused. For those just listening, I got two confused looks on my co-hosts' faces.
Items 1 through 4, I was totally on. I have never heard kiss with your teeth. What does that mean?
I just have to show it to you. It's
You can kiss me. You can do it right now. Okay, get close up to the camera, Dan. Let's
go. Basically, it's, posing to kiss each other, but when they're trying to capture the photo, they're capturing that moment right before. So it's not necessarily the act of kissing, but it's when you're about to. And so you're smiling and your mouth is kind of open, but you're within that inch there. Have you seen that movie Hitch? It's like you come 90, I come 10. It's that 10 right there, right before you go, and you smile, and it's like you're kissing with your teeth. You're not actually touching, but you're right there, and it captures a wonderful moment. It does. It works out well. It's weird, but makes for a good photo.
Interesting. Everything else you said was dead on though. Dead on. The kissing with the teeth thing still weird.
Yeah.
Still
also,
weird.
Chris, I almost forgot to do this again. Major shouts.
Oh, thank you.
To one of our most favorite and loyal podcast listeners, Diane. Thank you, Diane, for supplying Chris and I with these wonderful custom Brunch Breakdown canisters here. We even got the metal straw, saving the environment. I love it. So I wanted to give her a special shout out and a thank you. Dee Dee, you showed us yours a couple weeks ago, and now all three hosts, we got them, we're rocking them, we love them. So thank you, Diane.
Nice. I kid you not. I have had this mug right in front of me for the last 3 episodes, and I have forgotten to mention that every single time. So thank you, Dan. Thank you.
I almost forgot again. I had to jump in there while we wrapped up my chess segment there. So thank you.
Nice. Yeah, I keep forgetting to tell you guys to bring them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, shouts to Diane. My mother-in-law, by the way. Big listener.
Yes.
Big listener.
Big listener.
Chris, get it off your chest.
All right, I have 2 things. The first one is very short. Gentlemen, this is episode 52 of the comeback, which means this is a full year of podcasting. Okay.
Wow. Look at that.
Whoa.
You're right.
And
this is when we started.
Yeah, we started in quarantine. Still going.
One circle around the sun. Here we are.
And I just want to say this has been one of the few highlights of the last calendar year, has been doing this podcast. So thank you both. This restarted out of absolutely nowhere, but it's come on strong.
Shouts to Eminem and shouts to VH1, right? Eminem and VH1.
Yeah, without the movie 8 Mile, this would have never happened. I want to dive into those. So yeah, it said, we've been in the pandemic through all of this. Things are continuing to open back up. In Dan and my state, they announced that I think by the end of the month, there will be no restrictions on anything. And I know a lot of other places are going the same direction. And admittedly, that means we only have a couple more weeks to kind of make fun of and pick apart these rules that they're making up. So I'm going to take this last opportunity to do it. They announced recently that indoor events are allowed to have 50% capacity. That is up from 25% capacity. I don't get the difference between 50% capacity at like a sporting event and 100% capacity at a sporting event. If we're looking at it as like, hey, you're supposed to be 6 feet away from other people. You're supposed to socially distance and wear a mask. If it's 50% capacity, that means on average, there's a person in every other seat. And if you've been in a seat at a sporting event, you know that it's like 3 feet wide max. So like Why isn't it 100%? That just bothers me. Just like let people, but they're like, well, it's going to be 50% on Monday. And then in 2 weeks, it's going to be 100%.
Right.
Well, just let them go to 100%. It bothers me because like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I don't see a big difference. Like a 20,000 seat arena, at a certain point, you get enough people in there that there's not a big difference between 10,000 and 15,000 and 20,000. And it just bothers me. It bothers me that we're 14, 15 months into this thing and the rules still don't make sense to me. I'm all for keeping people safe. Don't get me wrong, all for keeping people safe, but I'm also all for having a sellout crowd for home hockey games because the playoffs are about to start and I don't like this rule. So that's what I had to get off my chest this week. I just wanted to get angry about COVID rules one last time before I don't have the opportunity to do so anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris, because it's almost like it is weird because for Pennsylvania, they announced May 31st, all restrictions except for masks are off. But then this week they're like, oh, well, Monday, we're going to do the 50% indoor capacity, 75 outdoor capacity for 2 weeks. And then, yeah, we're going to stay with the end of the month thing where everything's, what are you doing? Why are we doing this?
Right.
And I think you're right. I think it's almost, the governor of Pennsylvania is almost like, I'm doing you a favor, Pittsburgh Penguins, that you can have some people, because it's not like anybody that's having a wedding coming up over the next 2 weeks. It's not like you can all of a sudden be like, let's open up the guest book again. Let's get people in here. Let's get a bunch more food ordered. Like that's not happening, right? It's really not doing any favors there. So it does seem weird that they're just like, oh, we forgot to take the middle step. We forgot one more step before we open things up. Let's put it out there for 2 weeks and just make it look right. It's very weird. Yeah.
No, the sporting event thing is stupid because like in Anaheim, they have different rules than LA. It's a 30-minute difference, right?
What the hell?
30-minute difference. So like the Angels are allowed to have like, I forget, I don't know. Let's say a number, 65%. And the Dodgers are allowed to have like 35% people in the stadium. It's a 30-minute difference. The same people, if you like baseball, you're going to a game, one or the other.
Right.
So it just, I don't know. All these rules are just, the stadium rules are like really dumb. And then I'm like, okay, like I think our restrictions go off like June 14th, which is basically when right around like the second round of the NBA playoffs are supposed to start. So I don't know. It all seems like they're just like, all right, let's get it. Let's not miss the whole playoffs. Let's get there for the second round. Look like good Americans. I'm like, just open it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's almost over though, boys. It's almost over.
We're almost there. Yeah.
Almost.
I like it.
Almost. We're almost there. It feels weird. It feels weird. I'm going to miss 6 feet distance everywhere though. I am going to miss that. Not going to lie.
If you want to come to a sporting event where you get 6 feet distance, I have Pitt season tickets. You can join us any game that you want to. There are seats available.
The Pirates have all summer to play. Yeah. The Pirates, by the way, are still operating at 25% because they know they increased that number. The number of fans doesn't change. So they're just making it look really good by, no, we're being real safe here.
Yeah.
Okay, Pirates.
They're going to choose the safe route. It's not because nobody would actually go. Yeah.
That's like the best thing that's happened to the Pirates in years is that they're like, oh, 25%, we're good. Yeah. We are good.
Man, they have a sellout streak going right now.
It's amazing.
Awesome. All right. Well, boys, let's get into should we do the main? Yeah, let's get into it right now. Goodfellas. We watched it for the very first time, which is a surprise to many, but to us, we're like, whatever. We haven't seen it. So Goodfellas, the 1990 classic. What did you guys think? First initial thoughts of Goodfellas.
Oh, she violent. She was a violent one. I mean, not that was completely unexpected, but wowzers. That was a movie. And now I understand why so many people are surprised. Now I also understand why it's never been on TV. Because I was like, I get it, but like I have to go out of my way to find Goodfellas. It's not like it's on TV all the time. If it was on TV, I'd throw it on. That movie would be 15 minutes on television. So now I understand why it's never on TV.
Yeah, man, it went from 0 to 100 pretty quick, huh? Like everything was just kind of moving along, and then cut to one scene, Ray Liotta's smashing some dude's face in with the back end of a pistol, and then from there, I mean, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, they didn't ease you into it. They didn't ease you into it at all. They were
No.
just like, we're gonna go fast forward here real quick, and then we're gonna tell you how we got here, but just so you can get used to what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that stood out to me in this movie, which I really, really enjoyed, I like this movie a lot, was how hard the punches look. Like punches in movies don't look like that anymore. And I really want to ask like some of these people who were like extras in this movie, like, did you really get hit by Joe Pesci? Because like they just, I don't know why, it just felt like every time somebody got like punched specifically or pistol whipped, which they did a lot of, like it just felt like they actually did it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that doesn't look like that in movies now. Like, because Jesus, that shit hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It looked very real, very intense. And one other thing that stuck out to me immediately was we're starting off the movie with narration from Ray Liotta. And I thought it was maybe just starting to set things up, explain things a little easier, and then it would go away. It turns out that was throughout the whole movie. And we don't really see that anymore in movies. And like, I appreciate it because I feel like you can enjoy the movie a little more and a little quicker when you're at least being told some things. Not that I'm saying dumb it down for me, but yeah, tell me who this is. Tell me when it is. Tell me this. Instead of movies nowadays where you have to figure all this stuff out on your own. It's all artistic and all that stuff. And it's fine, but sometimes it takes me half the movie to just be like, before I can start like enjoying things. It's like, okay, now I finally figured out where we are for the first hour. Let's enjoy the next hour. But from the get-go here, I was like, all right, this is a long movie. So now I don't have to spend half of it trying to figure things out. I'm being told, it's being narrated. So that was pretty, unique, and is an old style thing that we really don't get anymore, that I thought was actually good in this instance.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, like, I thought that was really cool. And if they didn't have the narration to set the scene at the beginning of the movie, it would have been like an hour longer, because like, I thought that was so cool how he like talked through himself as a kid and how he thought, that scene of like the mob was so cool and he wanted to be part of it and got into it. They gave us a Cliff Notes version. Without that would have taken an hour.
Yeah, it would have. And it's like you got inside the head of the character instead of like trying to have to read his face and be like, oh, he doesn't like that, he's uncomfortable. Yeah. Ray Liotta's telling you as he feels, especially as, like you said, with the younger, earlier on portion of the movie where he's this younger character showing, and you're able to like get all that and feed all that information.
Yeah, like we would have had to meet his parents because we never really did that. He said what his parents said, you know what I mean?
Right.
Felt how his parents felt. So like, we never had to get that. And that was kind of nice because like, I don't need to know his parents. Like, you know what I mean? I get it. They didn't like it. Cool. But like, I love the narration. It honestly makes this movie like move very, very well, and even better than other movies like it because of the narration.
Yeah. It never felt long. Like, it was a long movie, but to me, it never felt like, I never had that moment where I felt like compelled to check the timer on the movie to see how much time was left. I was pretty sucked into it the entire time.
Yeah, like I felt like I was more looking at the watch during Die Hard, which was 2 hours, and this was 2.5. And I didn't feel quite as of a need to do that because it kept you interested. It kept moving. And kind of speaking on that narration thing a little bit more, that was also extremely helpful because we're in this movie where you're being introduced to like 50 characters and they all have like the same Italian name. even that one scene where it's like, oh yeah, his son's named Paulie and all his daughter's named Margie or whatever. But like when he's first introducing everybody, it's like, do I have to remember all these people's names? But then you heard them, the ones you needed to know were repeated through either the narration or the actual plot of the movie itself. And that kind of helped progress things and understand who everybody is, because some of the faces are famous and you can recognize them based on that, but others weren't so much. So I thought that helped a lot in that way too.
Yeah, there was that scene where he was walking through, or the camera was like panning through that bar that they ended up torching, and they kept on saying like the nicknames of all those dudes, like Bobby Bumps and like Joey Longlegs and like all that. I'm like, who are these people? But then like you end up at the table and they interact with each other and you understand the dynamic of the people. It doesn't really matter what their names are, but there's so many dudes in this movie.
I feel like every one of my Italian friends who's had kids has a kid named Luke. Every single one of them. So when he was doing that, when they were going through that scene, like talking about how everybody names their kid this, names their kid that, it's like, yeah, that's pretty dead on. That's pretty dead on. A lot of friends named Anthony that I grew up with. There's a lot. There's a lot. Well, so there's this quote at the very beginning. He talked about his dad saying American kids were spoiled and lazy. And this is 1970, I think it was. Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? Every generation does this.
Oh, yeah.
It does not matter what generation you were from, whether it's Gen Z, who they're saying that about now, millennials, who they were saying about that. Basically, we're ripping Gen Z, Gen X rips millennials. It all goes on. Baby boomers say this, and whatever generation Ray Liotta's dad was from, he was saying American kids are spoiled and lazy. So like, when you say these things, know how dumb you sound, because they've been saying them to the generation below them forever and ever.
Yes.
And that just made me laugh at the beginning of the movie.
That's a great one. And this is kind of a tangent, but like, I don't know if you guys listen to Gary Vaynerchuk at all. I love that dude. And he says, he's always asked in interviews, like, what do you think about like how social media is changing our habits and our behavior and our mindset? And he's like, people are on social media looking for attention and looking for other people's attention and their own, feedback. And he's like, we were doing that before all this in things called conversations. He's like, human behavior is the same. We're just doing it in different places. So yeah, that's funny. That quote stuck out to you. That's interesting.
Oh my gosh. Did any quotes or anything like that you saw or that you heard before from Goodfellas that made you be like, oh, that's why people say that?
I saw where we got the Ray Liotta meme, though, that gif or meme that goes around of him like literally cracking up like as the funniest thing anybody's ever heard in his life. That face that he makes. I was like, oh, there it is. That's where he's just like, like at the table. I'm like, there we go. Now I know what that meme and that gif are from.
Somebody shared that. I literally saw that today before we were recording. And I was like, I'm part of the group now. I understand it. That's a great one. I don't know about a quote, but there was the scene. It's like when the Lufthansa heist is going on, and then Ray Liotta's in the shower screaming and like smacking the wall. That is one that like I had seen clips of in other places and didn't really understand the connection. And now I feel cool to know what the hell that was all about.
Yeah. There was that other one where they were playing. This is a complete spoiler. If nobody's seen this movie, you go see this before we go on.
Yeah, there's no.
Join us.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we're gonna. But the scene where they're playing poker and Joe Pesci ends up shooting the guy, but he was like questioning him, and he was, or no, I can't know. Was it then, or was it when we get first introduced to that character in Ray Liotta's character? He's just sitting down with him. He's like laughing at him because he's telling this story, and he's like, "Oh, do I make you laugh?" And I feel like I can like never pinpoint what movie that's from. I feel like it's all those characters have said that line in like a bunch of movies, but like now I know, okay, there it was in Goodfellas. Like, oh, what am I funny to you? What do I make you laugh? And it was good to capture that funny, original moment.
Funny guy, like funny how? Like tell me how I'm funny.
Right.
Yeah, that scene is amazing. And I think all of them have said that in different movies as like a callback to Goodfellas. And like, I just missed the joke. I'm like,
right.
Why'd they do that?
Right.
That's weird. But yeah, that cigarettes. I really want to talk about cigarettes. They smoke so much. Cigarettes are like extinct now.
Right.
Like they smoke literally every single place they go. And I know this isn't like everyone knows that. It's just that like, it's so weird seeing so many people smoke. like
Yeah.
just everywhere.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Imagine like our kids watching Goodfellas and seeing that many people smoking cigarettes. That's going to be a complete, it's going to blow their minds, right? They're going to be like, what are those? What is everybody doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bizarre to think like, I mean, I guess our parents grew up in a time like throughout the 80s, like people were smoking at work, like in the office.
You can smoke on an airplane.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Airplane.
I legitimately can't even like fathom smoking on an airplane. Like,
no way.
Of all places.
Way. You kidding me?
Dude, Joe Pesci. All right, here's a fun fact for Goodfellas. Joe Pesci was in Goodfellas in September of 1990. Do you know what other movie he was in 1990?
It wasn't Home Alone, was it?
It wasn't Home Alone, was it? Was it,
It
really?
He was in both those movies 2 months apart.
What?
September of 1990, Goodfellas came out. November of 1990, Home Alone came out.
Okay,
Joe Pesci, maybe one of the best actors of our time. The range.
Yeah.
I am so happy that I saw Home Alone 72 times before I saw Goodfellas.
Oh, I know, dude. I know.
Because I hate Joe Pesci after seeing Goodfellas. Like, it made me on so many levels angry at his character. You're not supposed to like his character, right? Like, even when his character is introduced as the child version of his character, like, he's a dick. And he's just a dick throughout the entire movie. And he's obviously not a good guy in Home Alone, but like, the Wet Bandits are kind of lovable idiots in their own way, you know? So you don't mind them coming back in Home Alone 2 when they're in New York. You know what I mean? You want to see them again because they're part of the story and you love the story. I hated Joe Pesci in this movie. Absolutely hated him. I didn't like that he was like such a squirrely, scrawny little dude, but he like wielded so much power. And I was very happy when he got whacked at the end of the movie.
I didn't see that coming. Honestly, that was stunning. That was one because he had like
just gotten made. Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah. That's crazy that it was 2 months apart. That was the same year. I would have never, ever guessed that in a million years, but the man, the myth, the legend, I mean, he can do it all. And you're right, Chris. If we would have seen Goodfellas first, or even just a couple, you watch Home Alone a couple times and then Goodfellas, I'd have been like, I don't know what to feel here, but thankfully, 72 runs of Home Alone makes me forgive Joe Pesci for some of the things his character did, in Goodfellas.
the acting dynamics of being in Goodfellas around straight up gangster characters and then trying to rob a 5-year-old. Like, that's
we need like a rated R version of Home Alone where he's just like that character. But he's still got Marv. It's still Marv.
Marv would get whacked 5 minutes into that movie.
Oh, easily. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what it was like for adults who saw Goodfellas in theaters and then had to go see Home Alone with their kids. Because like, that's not a crazy thing. It's like Goodfellas is a super adult movie, and then Home Alone is a kid movie.
Yeah.
It's
a family Christmas movie. They're so different. Was Joe Pesci in anything big before those two movies, or was he kind of like an unknown?
I don't know. I just know in that time, like late 80s, early 90s, he was in a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like My Cousin Vinny, all those movies that people know Joe Pesci from, all were like in that like time period. So I don't know if he was famous from something like earlier, but I don't know.
Wild. Well, did either of you know that going into this movie that Ray Liotta was like the main character? Because for me, based on the posters, he's just on the side, right? He's just on the side. And it's the other more recognizable stars like Joe Pesci that are there out in front on this poster. There's a couple of them. I didn't realize we were going to be following him around the whole time. That was kind of surprising to me, or if it was going to be equal balanced or whatnot, but that was news. That was news when I was watching this movie.
Yeah. I thought De Niro was the main guy.
Yeah. De Niro's in like the front of all the posters.
Yeah.
Right. And he played a significant role, but that's not who we followed, so I was surprised.
Yeah. See, I thought we followed all of them like equally, I guess. I didn't know we were getting the story of Harry Hill, Ray Liotta's character. I didn't know we were getting that the whole movie. I didn't know that it was about one guy. I didn't know that. Friggin' what else do I have here? Oh, he says at the beginning, like something about being a gangster, and then they stab someone. And I'm like, I'm not built to be a gangster. Did you guys think about that? Like how, like if your life, like I was, because you're in this guy's life from like the time that he's super young, super old. And I'm just like, wow, I wasn't built for that. I'm happy I grew up in the right neighborhood in Wellsburg, West Virginia, that like no one asked me to come work for the mafia family. No.
Yeah. The running theme, the most prevalent theme for me throughout watching this entire movie was just that, like, I'm not cut out for that life, boys. I was so anxious and stressed throughout the entire movie. Like so many of those scenes where like he goes back to the house with his wife and the dynamics of, okay, he's with his wife, but he's also cheating on his wife. And there's also probably tens to hundreds of dudes out there that want him dead or captured or beaten up in some way, shape, or form. And also knowing that he has done that to countless other people. Like every time he went home, I was so stressed out. So stressed out because like that's supposed to be the safe place. And all I could think of when he would go back home is like, I mean, I guess technically it's a safe place, but the world around you is chaos all the time. I don't know. It's just too much. It was too much for me.
Yeah. As someone with Italian blood, there's certain elements that were like relatable, and like I look forward to those like large family gatherings again. And oh, this is so and so, and everybody knows each other's names, and they all sound the same and rhyme the same and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, okay, a little bit. But then, yeah, there's just all the violence and the stabbings and the whackings and the killings, and there's quite a bit of blood throughout this movie. So if you're worried about blood, be careful there. Yeah, like it reminded me, just being not like cut out for stuff like that. It reminded me like being a kid and watching certain movies where there was like gross kissing scenes or things like that, or somebody getting naked in Titanic and whatnot at 10 years old and having to like turn away in the theater because, gross, what's happening here? Like as a grown-ass adult in my 30s, I'm like turning away from this movie going like, gross. I can't watch some of this. Violence is a little too much for me. And like even some of the domestic stuff was like, oh man, this is right here on screen. Like, it was just a lot. And I don't think I've ever looked away from a movie so much since I've been like 8. So that was a little surprising and definitely made me not, anywhere near cut out for anything like that.
It's funny you say too much because I watched this movie with my wife, and one of her favorite things when it's like basically anything that she's like, I don't like this, she'll just be like, it's too much. And she said too much so many times during this movie. So many times. And I got to tell you guys, every time she said it, she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong.
Right. No exaggerating on too much on this movie. That's for sure.
Okay. When Ray Liotta's wife is on top of him with the gun, when he wakes up, here's the question. What is something goofy that you would do that would make your fiance or wife do that to you?
Oh my God.
Oh.
Like, what is the thing that makes them the most like irate with you that would make you do that?
So you're saying what would make them so mad that they would want to, that you would wake up and they would be on top of you with a gun?
Yeah. I'll go first.
Yeah, please.
I will go first.
This is something you need a little bit of prep for.
Right. Because I feel like our answers could also get us in that situation depending on what it is.
All I could think about was whenever I say to Siobhan something about like her parenting.
Oh,
Like, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just like, well, you should change his diaper. Then he'll stop crying. She gives me these looks. And I thought in that scene, I'm like, you know what? If I just like said the wrong things, like all right, there's another thing she does. She puts Saoirse like on the counter. Like Saoirse just sits on the counter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. I can't stand it. I always think she's gonna get hurt. And whenever I say something about it, Siobhan's like, why do you think I'm a bad parent? And then she looks at me and I'm like, I didn't say you're a bad parent. But when she's on top of him with the gun, I think about like, yeah, if I say that one too many times,
that's
might be over for me. I might wake up to a gun in my face.
I'm actively right now asking my wife this question, so I hope I have an answer for you. Dan, go ahead.
Oh, we're gonna get a real authentic answer. That's tremendous. This is a tough one right now, especially all things being considered. Great wedding planning, nothing at all. Yeah, I think if I made a suggestion that, because she's paying for the majority of this wedding, I think if I made a suggestion about like, you know, you should really spend more here, or like, you know, making it seem like she's being cheap regarding some decision of the wedding, which she's not, believe me, that certainly would. Or if for some reason I drank all of the craft beer or gave it away that we own, I'd absolutely wake up with a gun to my face. There's no questioning that one. Of all the 200 bottles and cans that we're probably down to, if those were just gone, I gave them away, drank them all, took them to the bachelor party. Sorry. No. Yeah. Gun in the face. That's it.
Do you have one, Chris?
I don't have an answer. I said, I asked Katie and she was like, if you take my food. And I was like, I don't think you're understanding the question. And then she just said, I explained the situation that you mapped out, Dee. And she said, I don't know. You'd have to really screw up.
I mean,
I don't know. And then I told her that you said when you comment on Siobhan's parenting and she goes, so maybe that.
That one might light a fire.
Yeah. That's the parenting one. That's when I get the looks and I'm like, scared, terrified. Well, boys,
Chris, what if you said to her that this may probably already be fact based on your employment, none of your children can root for or attend the University of Wisconsin?
If I said that to her?
Yeah,
that would be a problem. You know, it's
you
a
might
good
get
one.
the pistol whip.
Pitt, yeah. Maybe not a gunshot, but maybe
right.
some type of physicality. Pitt plays Wisconsin in like 5 years, so I bet you if Pitt beat Wisconsin and then I really rubbed it in, that might do it. She is a staunch Wisconsin fan.
Well, boys, in this movie, we had another surprise cameo from a legend, Carl Winslow in Die Hard. This one, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Poor
guy.
Out of nowhere, out of nowhere, they're in that bar and they pan past Samuel L. Jackson talking. I was like, is that Samuel L. Jackson? And then friggin', he ends up getting, shot in a too much kind of way. Didn't need that too much, but yeah, Samuel L. Jackson.
Telling you, that's the guy whose career I want. He's in everything.
He is in everything. And it's so funny because you just said that recently.
Right.
And then he popped up in another movie that none of us knew he was in.
Dude.
All they said was like, hey, you want to make some coffee? And then he's dead.
Any final thoughts on Goodfellas, guys?
I loved it. I mean, I thought it was a phenomenal movie. It reminded me of The Departed in that it was like kind of one of those mob type of movies that I was fully into from start to finish.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did, even through some of the too much moments. I don't know if or when I'll ever watch it again, just because it's long. Like, how long is too long for a movie? This was about borderline for me, but it was such a good movie where, like we mentioned earlier, the time really wasn't more of a concern. It was more of like mapping out 2.5 hours in a day versus like sitting down and watching it for 2.5 hours. But yeah, this blows Die Hard out of the water, in terms of the movies we haven't seen.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this one was much more enjoyable and kept my eyes on the screen, much more attentively in this one.
Yeah, the same thing for me. And I'll never forget when Joe Pesci is at his mom's house and he says, "Mom, I'm gonna borrow this knife."
It's a great scene.
I'm honestly, could you imagine going to your parents' house for dinner? You go to your parents' house for dinner a lot, both of you do. And like, could you imagine saying to your mom, "I'm gonna borrow this knife"?
No.
No, well, yeah, maybe there's a situation where I'd need a knife and my parents would look at me weird and make a comment about it. Joe Pesci's mom's probably the stupidest person in that movie because at one point there was a dead body in a car outside of her house and she's like, "Oh, I want some dinner. It's 2
Yeah, you
a.m.
want
This
some
is
food?"
normal."
Yeah.
Like that was ridiculous. She was
Yeah.
the worst character in the movie. She had about 3 minutes and 30 seconds of screen time and she blew it.
She's just like, just bring it back clean. Just make sure it's clean. I will make sure you bring it back. Amazing.
I want you both to do that the next time you eat with your parents.
The
at your
biggest
parents'
knife.
house. I
Get
just
the
want
biggest
The
knife.
biggest
when
knife.
your mom grabs the biggest knife to cut cake or pie or something like that. I want you to be like, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna borrow this knife."
Yeah,
We'll try that out.
I just need it for
try
a
that.
few hours. I'll bring it back.
Yeah, we'll try that out.
Literally the best thing in the world because I just want to be somewhere where somebody says that and just I'm like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna borrow what?
Yes, we'll do that.
Well, Goodfellas. Well, guys, let us know what you think of Goodfellas. If you think what we said about Goodfellas is right or wrong, and give us some ideas of what we should do next. I don't know what we're gonna do next. What are we?
Yeah,
I
we
can't
need
wait.
another movie.
We unfortunately have a rather long list, I think.
Yes.
But we'll have to narrow in on one. Can we under 2 hours? This next, just the next one at least.
Really short. We're doing a short film, Oscar-winning short films from now on. That's what we're doing. All right. Well, let's get into some topics real quick before we get out of here today. Legends of the Hidden Temple for adults on the CW. Guys, your thoughts, your feelings on Legends coming back for us?
I'm super excited. I'm super excited for this. I guess there was an attempt at this reboot last year through another streaming service, which ended up fizzling out anyways. But yeah, this is on the one and the only CW. They're calling for casting for it right now, so it's interesting. Yeah, so this is Legends of the Hidden Temple for adults. It'll be same type of thing. There's same team names. They've said that they'll have the same team names. It's not taking place in a studio. This is in a man-made jungle area as well, but they'll have more physical and difficult challenges. But Olmec's supposed to be there. My man, the OG host, Kirk Fogg, better be there. Get on that contract, get that done, or I ain't watching. But yeah, super, super intrigued. And I hope they don't like overdo it. Like that show was just great as it was. Don't try to over fantasize this thing and make it like Survivor and make it real serious. Like we all loved it, enjoyed that show growing up. So don't take the heart out of it away from us. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm down.
I'm confused. What channel is? Oh, it's gonna be on CW. Right. Okay. So here's what I'm worried about is that this more resembles like that Wipeout show that's on TBS right now, or like Ninja Warrior, American Ninja Warrior. Like I'm worried because they said it's not going to be in the studio and they're going to do it in this like other jungle. I'm worried it's just going to be an obstacle course that looks like a jungle, but is really just like all those other shows.
I'm with you because when I see this, that's what when I read about it, I was like, that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like Wipeout, but
yeah.
Interesting. I never thought of that, but you're right. Because I was just saying, don't make it too serious, but like that's taking it the other direction that I wouldn't want it to go either, where it becomes like a Wipeout show. You're right.
And those shows are like, I would imagine super cheap to produce. And that's why they do them. Cause like people sign up for free to be part of it. And then they get free content. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, cause Wipeout, they're paying the host more than they're paying anybody. It's like,
yeah.
John Cena, of course.
Seriously. And then, but with that, I don't know. Have you seen The Floor is Lava on Netflix? Have you watched that?
No.
I've seen clips of it. Yeah, I know it was very popular.
Watch The Floor is Lava, and maybe it's gonna be like that, which the show's kind of entertaining. kind of. Not saying fully entertaining, but kind of entertaining. And it's with adults and like, yeah.
This has some of the original producers and creators of the show, which is encouraging. A lot of those original people were listed when they announced this, that they're going to be a part of it. So that gives me hope that it's not going to be complete debauchery and made a fool out of itself. I would hope that those people wouldn't let it happen, but we are dealing with the CW budget, so you never know.
This is, I have some breaking news for the Brunch Breakdown.
Yes.
Oh,
this may totally derail this episode.
Wow.
Dan and I were actually talking about this before we started recording, that Ohio was going to make some announcement about COVID regulations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Apparently Ohio just announced it's using its federal COVID-19 relief dollars to conduct a $1 million lottery drawing for those who have received the vaccine.
Oh, come on. You can't be serious.
Now, I sent to you guys earlier in the day, we need to talk about, like, all these states are doing giveaways and stuff like that.
Right.
What you should actually be doing. That was going to be a topic. And I think that now it's no longer a topic. That's it.
That's the one.
That's unbelievable.
I mean,
$1
that's
million
way better than
drawing?
Krispy Kremes.
Yeah.
It's better than a free
Holy
beer.
cow. That's insane.
That's unbelievable.
What?
That's the one to beat.
What?
That's the one to beat.
That's the best incentive. Like, hey, we want you to get the vaccine. We want this to be over. So you could win $1 million.
Is nobody
Genius.
getting vaccinated in Ohio? Is
Genius.
it like desperate times over
Apparently
there?
not. No. Yeah. My
Yeah.
sister said there, you can walk in anywhere, that they're just trying to, especially in some of the rural counties, that, they have to maybe drive a little further, but it's less convenient, but it's there for them, but they're just not doing it.
Yeah, I think like a lot of these states are trying to get to 70% vaccination, because I guess that's like the threshold
Yeah.
of when it gets safer. And so now they're trying to like pull out all the stops. That's unbelievable.
Wow. What breaking news.
Wow.
You can buy a house in Ohio real quick.
Well, Chris, that's where you got your vaccination. So like, are you in?
I don't know. I got to find out.
Yeah.
I got the card to prove it somewhere. That's unbelievable.
Hold on to that thing. Well, Dan, let's get into brunch core, man.
Let's do it. We've got one item on brunch core today, and let me tell you, boys, this is one of the most exciting items that we've ever had in brunch court. That's why it gets its own segment here today. It kind of combines some items that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks. We talked about Powerade, Freeze Pops. We talked about some different seltzers. There's harder seltzers that they're coming out with. White Claw's doing like a more intense version of White Claw. But this, gentleman, might be the one that just breaks the bank altogether. Truly has announced that they will be releasing this summer Truly Freeze Pops, an 80-calorie freeze pop. That's right, Truly Freeze Pops, available in 3 flavors: strawberry lemonade, mango lemonade, and original lemonade. Comes in a variety pack, 12 in a pack. This might be the most dangerous alcoholic invention since the seltzer, period. This is crazy. These are coming out expected to be out the end of June and be out all summer long. Now, if you're not watching, you can see the headline on what Chris has pulled up here. Only available in certain states. I'm going to list off those states for you. There's only a certain number of states that these will be available. They are, so listen closely: California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Minnesota, Missouri, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Tennessee, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, and the final state, you're still waiting for your state to be called, it's New York. The final state is New York. So it's quite a number there, but it's not even half of the country are going to have access to these truly freeze pops. Gentlemen, reaction.
Love it. Only problem is you got to make sure they don't stay in the same freezer as the regular freeze pops, so you don't have an accident.
Yeah. That's a great point. I hate living in the state of Pennsylvania for so many reasons. This is another one. I don't see how this is bad.
It can't be. It's not. And you're right, Chris. I knew when I saw the headline that it was only available in certain states, I knew sure as hell Pennsylvania would not be on the list.
Right.
I knew that. So I looked at surrounding areas. I saw Ohio. I saw that was encouraging. I know you're going to Wisconsin and will be, potentially in the summer months. So you may have ability to have access there. And like, these are things where, yeah, they're like frozen, but like if they become unfrozen, it's fine. You just freeze them again. It's liquid. So those surrounding states, nice to get Maryland in there, but Didi, stock up. This could make summer ridiculous. I'm not a big seltzer guy, but I would smash these things. Let me tell you that.
No, this is genius. Like, I can't believe that they're allowed to do this.
I know.
It's amazing. I think it's incredible. I'm just shocked. But yeah, I am all in favor for this. And if you're not in favor of this, you hate fun. I don't know.
Dude, to that point, like how you're like, I didn't even know you're allowed to do this. I remember vividly in like those first few post-college years, getting alcohol and like going to a gas station and getting a slushie and then like mixing them together and thinking that was the coolest thing. And, oh, nobody else thinks of this. I can't believe it. And now I'm thinking, how has this not been a product before today? It makes so much sense.
It really does. And like, I was even blown away the first time. They have like, first it was like, obviously there's frozen drinks, margaritas, whatever, already, but like frozen ciders were becoming popular over the past couple of years. And that was like amazing. And now they're even doing beer slushies, which depends on the beer, does not work for every beer, but they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. But this is, how has this not been done before? Shouts to Truly, because this puts them over the top for me, because this is just so genius. And you could probably slap any price on these bad boys and I'd pay for them and stock up for the whole summer. I want these all summer long.
Yeah. And for Truly, like, I feel like Truly was always losing the battle with White Claw, because White Claw kind of had more social proof than Truly. And this may be a game changer for them.
Yep. This is what we needed. Were freeze pops, not a stronger seltzer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Truly making the right move this summer to get back on top. This is it. Yeah. Not a harder, larger can of seltzer. So thank you, Truly.
Oh, well, boys. All right, let's get into, before we get out of here, let's go what we're listening to this week. And Dan, get us started. What are you listening to, man?
Gonna start things off this week with Kenny Hoopla. Came out with another track with Travis Barker. They've collabed a couple of times, and they teamed up last year to give us Estella, which got really, really popular. But Kenny Hoopla's kind of got that unique style that's becoming really, really dynamic and popular, and I like a lot. And so teaming up with Travis Barker once again. Travis Barker is making some serious money right now, the people that he's teaming up with, honestly. But these two guys team up again, has that classic pop punk sound. Chris, I know you'll recognize and love that, but with Kenny Hoopla's delivery, it blends so well together. How the styles kind of combine, you wouldn't even really recognize it. So even has a Coachella shout out lyric in it, in the song. I don't even know if I named the song. The song's called Hollywood Sucks. So Hollywood Sucks by Kenny Hoopla and Travis Barker. Fun one to get it started this week.
Nice. Travis Barker is like trying his hardest to make pop punk back again.
He's like, getting in every genre, every scene, every artist. He's trying.
He's like, I will do a song with you. Let's bring it back. Oh, Chris, what are you listening to?
So I'm gonna pull a DD from last week and just let you guys know that everything I put on the playlist this week is gonna be DJ Khaled.
Are you really?
I'm gonna try not to make too many repeats, but my first one is gonna be a repeat because DD sent on the group text the music video to Let It Go with Bieber, 21 Savage. And first of all, if you haven't watched the music video, it's hilarious. It's like on a golf course, throwback to like Happy Gilmore references and stuff like that. Bieber is apparently trying to bring back baggy jorts, which is great. I think this is a song of the summer candidate for sure. So we're keeping, rather than putting it on the playlist, we're keeping it on the playlist this week.
Let's go golfing.
We're millionaires.
Amazing video. Yeah, Happy Gilmore, Dougie Gilmore. It's all in there. It's amazing.
Dude, when
Great
DJ
references.
Khaled like wrestles the alligator, rips off his shirt,
Oh
I
man.
was like, this video can't get more ridiculous.
Like,
Honestly.
we need, and maybe we should talk about this next week when we have more time. This is a DJ Khaled appreciation podcast. And I think we need to, at some point, talk about whether or not he's the greatest artist of our generation. I think we should talk about that for another time.
That's spicy.
That's a good tease.
Spice.
That's a
on
good
that.
tease.
Also, speaking of that video real quick, like this is a video that should win the VMA award. And the
Yes.
VMAs should still have a video category. And I know they do, but like this is what this award show was originally for. The song's amazing. The song would win on its own, but like this is a video that should win awards for being such a great video. And I hope it gets some acknowledgement of that at some point.
Yeah, because the song is like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes long. The
Right.
video's like 6 minutes.
Right. It's worth it. It's worth it.
All right. And speaking of greatest artists of all time, Soulja Boy has a song that is a huge hit right now in 2021. It is called She Make It Clap. It's gone huge off of like a viral dance off of it. But the song, it's 2 minutes, and it's, if you like Soulja Boy, you're going to like this song. And it just feels like outside. There's a theme this week. All my songs feel like outside. And this is the first one. She Make It Clap, Soulja Boy.
Nice. Don't hate that theme at all. Don't hate that theme at all. We're coming up on
Oh, yeah.
Memorial Day, grilling season, start of summer, all that good stuff. Guys, next one I'm going to put on the playlist this week is maybe a little out of the box for any of us, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyways. I'm putting Coldplay on it. I'm putting Coldplay on the playlist. Higher Power. Because I dig it. I do. Sometimes it's hit or miss with me with Coldplay. This is a hit. This is a big hit. Say what you want about Coldplay, but they are one of the best groups to ever do it, period. There's just no arguing that. This song, if you don't like some of that slower Coldplay stuff, and I don't mean like Yellow and all that older stuff, I mean some of the newer stuff even that's been slower, give this one a shot. It's got a little different taste to it, some 80s kind of electro vibe to it. It's more of a pop song. Expect to be part of an album eventually to come out with their 9th studio album, but give this one a shot. It's on the radio a lot right now, and I got to give it props. Higher Power from Coldplay. I dig it.
Okay. I didn't see that
Right.
coming.
Yeah,
I'm going to trust you.
I know.
Yeah. But Dan, understand that if you break our trust,
It's a bold move. It's a bold move, Cotton.
you've already done that once.
Hey,
with
I should've-
Yaya Ding Dong.
Even
so-
if this is a miss, I gave you like 45 songs last week, and so I had to just go back to that one.
So listening to DJ Khaled's album this past week led me to listening to DJ Khaled's album from 2019, Father of Assad. And that's where the rest of my music comes from this week. I'm putting Jealous on the playlist of Chris Brown, Lil Wayne. That song
Nice.
is just so damn good. Talk about songs of summer, songs wanting to feel outside, DD. That one will get it going for you. So I didn't know that was going to be the theme this week, but that's going to fit in real well.
Nice. All right. Second one, and this is another song of the summer candidate. Girl from Rio by an artist named Anita. holy crap, this song is so catchy and so good. And after you see the video, and I mean this, after you see the video, you'll love the song even more. It is just the song just feels like what a song of the summer is supposed to feel like. Like the beat is awesome. It's got a really cool sample in it that you'll notice. Like, and you'll just be singing the song over and over again when it plays, and it's just like you're gonna be playing it on repeat. Girl from Rio, Anita, super good song.
Nice, very cool, very cool. Yeah, you tweeted that out there, and some people caught wind of it. Pretty.
Jesus. Yeah, I tweeted that out like
fans caught on.
Fell asleep. I woke up to like 2,000 mentions.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Last one for me, more my lane. So everybody will come back to normal here. Joywave, one of my favorite kind of alt rock bands, released a new song called "Every Window Is a Mirror." I had a chance to see them open for Bastille a couple of years ago. You know, they've been known, if you follow that alternative style of music at all, you've heard them before. Their songs like "Destruction" and "Dangerous." "It's a Trip" was another pretty popular one a few years ago. So this song is upbeat. It's kind of got catchy alternative beat to it. A lot of great guitar in this song. It's going to be a part of their 4-track EP coming out in June. And then again, part of a larger album due out next year. But "Every Window Is a Mirror," a nice, catchy, kind of summery vibe song from the Goodfellas over at Joywave.
Why do I know Joywave?
I'm telling you, see, you've heard of one of those songs.
That's not a band we played with before, is it?
Oh, no. Oh man, that would be amazing.
Okay.
Damn.
Maybe I dreamt that. Higher, Nipsey Hussle, John Legend. That song's tremendous. Put it on the playlist. It's if you didn't notice, it's by DJ Khaled. It's my third one.
All right, and my last one is Dan, I think you put this on the playlist a while back, but like Daya, Bad Girl.
Yeah.
That song's really fucking good.
I know.
I just never got around to listening to that song. Like, or maybe I heard it like once when it was on the playlist and like didn't really think much of it, but like, holy crap, that is a really good song. And I'm like, shouts to Daya. She's back in our lives because that song is something, man. I heard it so many times. I was in my car for like an extended period of time over the weekend, and I was like, man, this song is everywhere. Good.
Yeah.
Bad Girl, Daya. Check it out.
Yeah, it gets me more excited for new Daya down the road this year. That'll be exciting.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, that's what we are listening to, and this has been the Brunch Breakdown. This was fun. We got out of here in good timing too.
We did. You made it through. You made it through with your voice. Not to celebrate too prematurely, but we forgot to mention you can find the Brunch Breakdown anywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Every Thursday morning, that's ready for you. Audio, full video episodes every Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. YouTube, Facebook, at Brunch Breakdown, everywhere on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Triller, TikTok. See you there.
Wow.
I'm not eligible for the $1 million drawing. I have to be an Ohio resident. This is awful. Bye, everybody.